You built a business people love, but behind the scenes, it's all on you. Vision to Grow is your space to lead with clarity, hire with purpose, and finally breathe again. I'm Chrissy, your no-fluff leadership expert, here to help you hire better and lead teams with less mess. Hello, and welcome back to the Vision to Grow podcast. I am Chrissy, the founder of Grow Advantage, and this is the podcast with no fluff, where we turn service-based businesses and their chaos into strategic, scalable growth. So I am your integrator, recruitment specialist, and professional chaos slayer for service-based visionary founders like you. So if your business is booming, but behind the scenes is being held together with sticky tape, random Google Docs, and desperate last-minute hires, you are exactly where you are meant to be. Today's episode is about one thing: owning your team and your processes when it comes to hiring offshore virtual assistants. I want to clear up some big misconceptions about why not every role should be external and how to hire virtual assistants without giving away your intellectual property or setting yourself up for disaster. Now, at the time of this podcast, I am on a family holiday in England. I should have just arrived. I'm taking my two little kiddies on my own. Goodness, fingers crossed for me, it went well. On a 24-hour flight to visit my family. Now, all of my family live in the UK, so this is a really, really big deal for us. But the reason I can do this, the reason my emails are answered, my deadlines are tracked, and all of my content is scheduled ahead of time is because of my incredible offshore VA team. And for me, they're not just support. They are empowered operators inside of my business. And to be clear, that did not happen by luck. It happened by design. So let's get into today's episode. What is a virtual assistant? So let's start simple. A virtual assistant isn't just someone who checks your emails. Done right, a VA is a team member managing real operational pieces of work. It can be inboxes, your CRM, workflows, content calendars, launch plans, and client follow-ups. Now, I am like so many other business owners in Australia. I work with virtual assistants from the Philippines, not exclusively the Philippines, but often hired from the Philippines. And I'm talking about offshore virtual assistants. Of course, you've got Australian-based virtual assistants too. But offshore virtual assistants in the Philippines are highly educated, fluent in English, and ridiculously hardworking. We're talking about degrees in things like communication, finance, and marketing. And these are women, often women. Again, I work with guys in the Philippines too, but they are people who have run their own teams. They've worked in industries like banks, telecommunication, big well-known businesses like Amazon, for example. I've worked with VAs from there before. And now they work as freelancers for themselves or through an agency, and they support business owners with operations for growing businesses like yours, like mine. But here's the thing. You need to treat the relationship properly. And that starts with you owning the hiring, onboarding, and management process and not winging it. There's three main pathways I see for hiring virtual assistants. So number one is your job boards. So that is job boards, really well-known ones like Upwork and Fiverr. Now, these are fantastic for one-off tasks, but frankly, in my opinion, terrible for building ongoing delivery capacity. It's luck of the draw with no structure, no loyalty, and no systems. I would say exceptions to this is one-off like website projects. I found a really good Fiverr person she didn't do the full design of the website, but she does updates. For me to get that done in Australia would be ludicrously expensive. Another thing I would say about Upwork and Fiverr is from the virtual assistants I speak to in the Philippines, for example, they don't love it because they pay a big chunk of their rate to the platform and they have to drop really low on price because it's highly competitive. Agencies is huge. And if you are in any Facebook groups or you are on Instagram, guaranteed you will see Australian-based agencies that hire offshore virtual assistants in the Philippines booming. And agencies are great because they make it easy. Well, they make it sound easy, right? So they manage everything for you. But you are paying a premium to that agency. And this is from what my virtual assistants tell me. The virtual assistant gets paid less than they would if you paid them directly, because the agencies are managing everything for them and you, right? Turnover in agencies can be brutal because really seasoned offshore virtual assistants will find a way to work for themselves. So I've had multiple offshore virtual assistants tell me outright, including my own virtual assistants, shout out to Michelle and Lady Trisha, that they are done with agencies because the model is unfair. Michelle is my age. So she's a little bit more mature. She's been doing senior administration work for 20 plus years. And so many of her friends are trying to find ways to work for themselves and freelance. Like I said, there does seem to be popping up virtual assistant agencies everywhere because it is an absolutely fantastic business model and it makes a lot of money. Because of my background being in hiring and recruitment, big chunk of it being in hiring and recruitment, I have thought about this model, but I know that this is no messing about in times of business. It is a solid time investment. And look, it's easy to mess up. It's easy to get wrong. Now, I just want to be clear. I am not attacking virtual assistant agencies. I have friends who run virtual assistant agencies. Agencies work. It's a smart business model. And honestly, I think for certain roles in your business, and if you're going to be hiring multiple virtual assistants, agencies can really, really work for you. But if you want to truly own your positions and you want to have autonomy and a bit more control over your staff, you want to be hiring, you're going to be creating positions yourself, creating really strong systems that essentially any virtual assistant can slot into, and then hiring really, really good people to do that work in the positions you've created and the systems you've created. So that is why I am a massive fan of the third pathway I see for hiring offshore virtual assistants. Direct hiring is the best long-term path, but only, and this is a big only, if you have the structure and the processes to back it up. So this means you owning the hiring process, you owning the onboarding, and you owning the role design, the systems, and the expectations of that role. You own the relationship with the individual, and that is key. So I'm giving Michelle, my virtual assistant, lots of love today on the podcast. But Michelle shared how a lot of her friends who are experienced operators are cutting out the middleman of agencies or job boards like Upwork and Fiverr and calling themselves freelancers. That's how she described it. And they are looking for real, stable partnerships with business founders in Australia who actually have their shit together. They're great. They want you to be great too. It's totally fair. So I want to talk about the real danger of losing your IP and control. So here is the brutal reality. And I touched about this a little bit on the Unicorn podcast, the episode before. So feel free to check that out. If you fully outsource core business functions without ownership of that process, you are at risk. So let's say your virtual assistant quits tomorrow, or your virtual assistant agency where all the systems have been built and then leveraged into your business collapses. What would happen to your client onboarding, your content plans, or your CRM workflows? They would be gone if you don't own the process. If you don't have it documented and systemized inside of your business. Like if you are hiring a really experienced VA or OBM, or they're leveraging an agency's processes, and you're not across it and you don't have it documented, you are not owning the delivery of your business. You are renting it, and you can't scale on rented systems. That is why everything we build at Grow Advantage focuses on, for myself and my clients, building your own systems and positions internally first, even if you are using offshore support to deliver the work from those positions. Quick question. Are you still the one fixing team mistakes, rewriting client emails, or approving Canva drafts at 10 p.m? If you've built the business and hired the team, but still feel like the glue holding everything together, then it's time for a real shift. Leadership Essentials is a one-day in-person workshop designed to get you out of the weeds and back into your CEO seat with clarity, confidence, and a team that moves with you. It's happening in Perth on Friday, the 12th of September, and Sydney on Wednesday, the 24th of September. You'll walk away with practical tools to lead better, reclaim your time, and build the business you actually want to run. There are only 15 seats per city, and pricing is discounted for a few more weeks before it jumps up to full price. And this event will sell out. DM me the word leader on Instagram and I'll send you the link, or just scroll down. The link is in the show notes. And if you're not already following me on Instagram, go do that now. Your next level leadership starts here. And here's the thing. When I work with service-based businesses, often we bring in 1 or 2 or 3 offshore virtual assistants into their business. But big businesses that are truly scaling and are in it for the long term, I personally believe that not every role should be filled by an offshore virtual assistant. And people don't talk about this. Not every role should be outsourced. If a role in your business, a position, is critical to client experience, highly strategic, legally sensitive, or foundational to business delivery, you need that role inside of your business, preferably as an employee. This goes back to basic business best practice. In large corporates, contractors supplement and employees sustain. Contractors are anyone that is employed by anyone other than you and your business. So themselves or an agency, right? So I'll say that again. In large corporates, contractors supplement, employees sustain. You pay a premium for contractors and outsourced providers. Now, again, obviously we're talking about offshore virtual assistants, so they may be cheaper. But let's say you're talking about an Aussie-based administrator that you employ versus an Aussie-based virtual assistant that you do not employ and they have a contract with you, right? You're paying a premium for them because they bring ready-made skills for a set period, for set deliverables, but they are not designed to carry your business longer term. So if you're hiring virtual assistants, Australian-based, or you're hiring offshore support, make sure it's for tasks and roles that are structured, documented, and replaceable, i.e., they do not own your entire business operations. Your business needs to run like a professional football club. And for me, it will always be football and not soccer. And I'm talking big leagues, like English Premier League, big league teams. My team is Liverpool Football Club. I'm not talking like a Sunday Park kickabout. So let's use Liverpool FC, who is my team, as an example. They just won the Champions League. Woohoo! They have 11 players on the field, specific positions: striker, goalkeeper, midfielder, defense. The roles stay the same even when the individual player changes. You don't just rock up on a Saturday, throw 11 random players on the pitch and hope for the best. You have a playbook, tactics, team structures, systems for training, recovery, communication. Liverpool doesn't lose its ability to play football when a star striker transfers to another team. They just recruit into that position. And the systems keep running. And guaranteed they have a bench and plan how they're going to rehire into positions, because it's not just a sports team, it's a highly profitable business. That is exactly what we are working towards for your business too. If you are serious about scaling and you are in it for the long term, you should own the role design, the processes, and the delivery systems. The players or team members, whether it's an offshore virtual assistant, a marketing assistant, a project manager, they can come and go, but your business will keep playing and keep winning because you built the strategy, you built the system. Now, if you don't own the positions, every time someone leaves, you are starting from scratch. And that is not scaling, that is surviving. My VAs are not chasing tasks blindly. They have job descriptions. Remember, I hired these people directly. I created a job description and then I advertised the role. I didn't go to them asking for them to solve my problems. I told them the work that they do and we work together to create systems. Now, I am not fiddling about in the back end doing SOPs. They do it for me. But should someone leave, I know them. VAs are amazing. They can do numerous things in your business. Right now, while I'm on holiday, my VAs are running the machine because they were set up properly. As I said, I designed the role. I gave them job descriptions. I invested time into structured onboarding. We have a centralized SOPs hub Again, I didn't create this. Michelle created those, but they are my IP and they will absolutely remain in my business after she leaves. And they're based on, it doesn't matter what the tech is, it's systems and processes that we have built in our business, and they will be refined and grow over time. And my VAs have decision-making frameworks. They have autonomy to make certain decisions without my input. They are empowered because I own the systems. That is the difference between hiring for cheap task fulfillment versus building a team that supports real growth. Here's what I see constantly in reality. Panic hiring because you're drowning. Writing 5 jobs in one ad. Go back to that unicorn podcast, which talks to that in more detail. Hiring lovely humans, but then not setting them up. Getting frustrated 2 weeks later and then blaming your offshore virtual assistant. You do not have a people problem, you have a process problem. If you don't, 1, scope the role and design it properly. You have a problem if you do not set expectations clearly. You have a problem if you do not build onboarding frameworks. And you definitely have a problem if you do not provide appropriate feedback loops and forums. It is unrealistic and unfair, frankly, to expect your VA to magically succeed if you do not set them up for success. Inside Grow Advantage, I support business owners to scope roles, create amazing hiring processes, onboarding checklists, leadership frameworks. It is our system that we use for our big tier clients, and it is the exact system we have in our done for you system, the ultimate offshore VA system. It is a process that you can plug and play into your business that is going to set your offshore hire up for success without you babysitting. And more so, you're going to design that position and own it. If you're a solopreneur, or if every decision in your business comes back to you, if you are the human glue holding your business together, you're going to burn out. And an offshore VA, properly hired, onboarded, and supported, can absolutely support you to free you up and allow you to scale the amount of clients you take on and your profit without cloning yourself. But here's the kicker. You must build the right structure first. Otherwise, you're just setting yourself up for another cycle of firefighting and micromanaging. This is the exact thing, as I said, I teach inside the ultimate offshore VA system. Now, you don't hire a unicorn, you build a system. These are the takeaways. You don't hire a unicorn, you build a system. If your VA holds your whole business together, you haven't hired support, you've outsourced your control. Roles and systems need to be clearly scoped and documented before you delegate and before you hire. 2, not every role should be outsourced, especially if you are growing and you are past the first few years of your business, you're making real money. Not every role should be outsourced. Critical, strategic, or legally sensitive roles belong inside your business. Offshore virtual assistants are brilliant for structured, repeatable tasks, but they should not be carrying your entire delivery system for your clients. And if they are doing most of the delivery, I swear you'll keep getting dragged back in. I've seen it time and time again. You don't have a people problem, you have a structure problem. Most virtual assistants fail are due to lack of onboarding, unclear expectations, or no systems. Setting your VA up with proper tools, frameworks, and documented processes, and guarantee they'll run like a machine. Well, your business will run like a machine and your VAs will be happy and look after you. That is the exact process and system we teach inside the ultimate offshore VA system. And like me, that system means you can take a holiday. Like me, I'm on holiday right now. This podcast has been recorded in advance. So if this episode is resonating hard for you right now, great. That means you are ready to take back control. You don't have to DIY business and you don't have to guess. At Grow Advantage, me and my team help you build your hiring systems, your team processes, and your leadership foundations properly. I am not here for the band-aid solutions. I want you to stop duct taping your business, and instead we can build systems and team structures that are yours to lead. If you are ready to stop hoping and start owning, and if you are ready for VA magic, check out the ultimate offshore VA system. Details in the show notes. Let's design the business that actually supports your vision. If today's episode resonated with you, please make sure that you share on your socials, and please make sure you hit that follow button on Apple or Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcasts. I want to grow this podcast and help more listeners. And I love a chat on socials. Please feel free to drop me a DM, a cheeky voice note on Instagram, or of course, being a hiring person, I'm all over LinkedIn. I would love to hear about what is landing for you with Vision to Grow. And I'm Chrissy. Thank you so much for tuning in today.
Audience exclusive.